I just thought about it while this is drying. I thought I would tell you about the difference between a midwife and a doula, because I took a class or training for postpartum doula. There's also a what they call a full spectrum doula, which is a person that's already taken the birth part of the doula class and the postpartum. They can mash them together, and it's a whole entire course. Um, I took separate because that's what I was available to take, and also for the cost wise. But anyway, so the difference between a midwife and a doula. So as I showed you before, if you saw the other quick post that I posted for the book Delivered by Midwives, we as people of color, brown women, indigenous women, we were midwives, have been midwives for like forever. Even back to Bible times, even before Bible times, like we have been the ones to not just catch babies, as if you've ever heard that term before, but we have been the people who were always taking care of the women and the babies, and the people who had the babies and the parents, the dads, the whole family of the person who had the baby. So I will use politically correct terms. So people that have babies, we took care of them. So, and the midwives, back in the day, like they literally, like they came to the house. If you've ever seen the show or heard of the show called Call the Midwives, like that's what we did. But like we weren't dressed up in all that kind of garb, but we did this work. And so, what happened was years later, I don't have the exact dates. Don't hurt me for that. Because I'm not good at remembering dates, but it's in this book, and and you can look it up. You can literally Google it. When did midwives and women of color midwives have to go to school to learn and be able to work in hospitals? You can look that up for yourself. I can tell you too, but I want you to learn a little bit too. I'm just giving you a quick information. That's about it. So anyway, so the whole thing is, long story short, the reason that there's doula now, which means servant, which I don't like that one, but it means that things are split up now. So in order to work in hospitals and be there, you cannot be just called a midwife. You have to actually go through a lot of training to do that. And it's good that you have to go through training. I think you should, anything that you're going to be passionate about and going to be serving people, I think you should learn some things. But as is custom in this country, we have been told that we cannot be in certain spaces. We were already blocked off from being in certain spaces. Like we couldn't even really go to school a lot. That's why we made our own schools. We made our own communities, because it's like, I don't have time for y'all, as well as you were killing us off. So yeah. And I say you as in government, as in people that don't look like me. So anyway, what happened is doula is a person who has less qualifications to do what a midwife does. A midwife is more, if you think about it, more like a nurse. So like a registered nurse, not just an LVN. Like they're more like, they usually go nowadays, they usually go to nursing school and then they go to midwifery school, which is a master's degree. Some of them even probably would get even a doctorate degree too, so that they can have even further access. Because the whole thing about being a midwife is you have access to being in these settings. However, there's two different things. So there's a certified nurse midwife. And so that one, you have to do the nursing school, then become a midwife. Now you have the ability to just get any bachelor degree, and then you can go to school. Well, you can apply to get into a midwifery program. There are only a few schools. I know there's one out here where I live that actually do it where you don't have to have a nursing degree to get into their program. But if you don't, just know that you will not be able to be in the space of being in the hospital. You can be in like clinics, I think. There's like a fine line between it. And it depends on where you live, you know, what state, what place you live in. Um, but yeah, a doula is a person that really comes and they can help the midwife with birth for the baby and all the things that go along with it. They can help. They can do a lot of helping. They are the helper and the support in that way. They also support, you know, the mother too. They can, you know, have meetings with them, help them with certain things. So basically, they have a limited. Sorry, slow down, Angela. They have a limited scope of practice. Scope of practice is something that I've learned as I work in the medical field. I am not a clinical worker, but I have worked around so many clinical people. And so your scope of practice is something that you always want to adhere to in this field. And the scope of practice is different for each level. A doula, even a full spectrum birth doula, has the ability to work with the family, the birthing person and their family and the baby, in a lot of different capacities that a person like myself, who's only just been trained as a postpartum doula, would not be able to. For example, I come after the baby is born. The baby is earthside now, so I can help with different little things. I can educate on certain things that they may need help with, just mainly to support the family and the birthing person and new baby, such as I can work nights or daytime. I can help with things such as, oh, you know, how do we swaddle the baby? I forgot, or I wasn't taught. Some people didn't have a birth doula or a midwife. Okay, y'all, I'm back. Yeah, I had to wash that off and just change my clothes. Anyway, so as I was saying, a just to differentiate a doula and midwife, like I said, it's mainly because of scope of practice. So doulas have the ability, for my purpose, have the ability to go ahead and do things at the house with the family and the birthing parent, by, such as, let's say my shift is only about 4 hours. It can be anywhere that me and the birthing parent and their family agree upon, such as it can be between 2 up to even 8 hours, even up to 10 hours. It depends on the availability and what we agree upon in our contract. Yes, we can make contracts. I just learned this, that we can make our own contract about, you know, what we're going to do, because we are a 1099 employee, basically. And as far as the tax laws are, you know, we really, you know, work as, you know, we're independent, we're on our own, and so we're an independent contractor. We get to work as at will, the time frame that we choose to. Midwives maybe can. It depends on if they have their own practice, or, you know, some of them may contract themselves out to do work. It just depends on what they choose to do and what their scope of practice is. So that's always a thing. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Scope of practice. Even for me, my current job the title is called I'm a safety attendant. So I'm a person that comes when people need help. If they forget that they're in a hospital, and if they need extra care, in just watching, making sure they stay safe, reminding them of what's going on. And so that's my scope of care, scope of practice in the hospital setting. I am not able to do clinical things. I can't give vital signs, and that's clinical. So even in my position as a postpartum doula, I don't do that. Now, the birth doula, they may be allowed to, I think. I'm trying to think, are they allowed to do it? I don't remember. But yeah, I'm not sure if they're able to do that. They may actually have that scope. I think it's if they already have had some training in that area. Like if they're already a CNA, they can do that. But If they are not, I don't think, it just depends on what the scope of practice. Again, I don't know all the things, I'm still learning. So, because these are according to law, it's not according to just like, well, I know I can do it and I've done it before. That doesn't matter. In this setting, like you, and I say you as an individual, if you have been hired under the title of a birth doula or a postpartum doula, you need to only operate within your scope of practice. You do not operate outside of the criteria and guidelines that are set aside in the policy that is written for your state, for your county, for your area where you dwell and live. So I'm just saying, you just want to keep you in the right area for that. I'm trying to think, what else was it? I think that's about it. That's all I really wanted to do. I said I was gonna come on and let you know about the defining the doula, postpartum doula, and midwife. Pretty much, like I said, you can Google plenty more things. There's a whole lot I can talk about. I can talk about this all day, but I'm learning and I'm excited about it. And so I hope you have a good rest of your day. I'm going to finish my food, and I also side note, I did go ahead and take the oil of oregano. Ugh, the nastiest stuff ever. It actually because I have the liquid, the oil itself. Some people are on TikTok right now. Actually, they are selling there's a capsule. And one of the persons that was selling it said, "Oh yeah, this is better." And I was like, "Yeah, I would say it's better, but I didn't buy that." So. And I don't, because I don't like pills, but also don't like this either. It was so nasty. Ugh. And I took my chlorophyll too with some palm juice. That's pomegranate juice for those that don't know. Mine has blueberry in it. I love it. So having that taste, it helped, but it did not get rid of it. It was burning my lips. It doesn't burn anymore. It was just for a little bit, but the taste is absolutely nasty. Anyway, that's a sidebar. Y'all have a good rest of your day. Bye.